The dance of unspoken attraction is one of the most compelling aspects of human psychology, especially when it comes to understanding how men navigate their emotions. For centuries, relationship experts and evolutionary psychologists have noted that men often process deep romantic feelings through action and behavioral shifts, long before they find the words to articulate them. While popular culture frequently portrays men as straightforward and direct, the reality of emotional vulnerability can cause a man to retreat into a state of quiet observation. When a man finds himself falling deeply for someone, a complex mix of vulnerability, fear of rejection, and intense emotional stakes often causes him to hold his tongue. He might remain silent about his feelings to protect the current dynamic, to ensure the feelings are fully reciprocated, or simply because he is trying to comprehend the sheer depth of his own internal shift. However, while the mouth can easily withhold a confession, the human subconscious is notoriously terrible at keeping secrets. The brain's limbic system, which governs our deepest emotional responses, automatically overrides conscious control, causing a man's true feelings to leak out through an array of subtle, involuntary physical, vocal, and behavioral cues. Understanding these quiet signs requires looking past overt declarations and focusing instead on patterns of consistency and micro-behaviors. In a world full of fleeting interactions, true emotional investment manifests as a hyperfixation on the other person's well-being and presence. It shows up in the way his focus shifts the moment you walk into a room, the physical protective barriers he instinctively builds around you, and the extraordinary mental real estate he dedicates to remembering the smallest details of your life. These actions are driven by a deep-seated evolutionary urge to protect, provide, and align with a potential partner. He becomes a silent ally, an unwavering audience, and a constant grounding presence. He may not be ready to say the words, "I love you," or "I am falling for you." But every subconscious alignment of his body, every change in the cadence of his voice, and every sacrifice of his personal time screams it on a frequency that can only be picked up by those who know exactly what to look for. By analyzing the 15 distinct behavioral markers outlined below, you can decode the hidden language of a man's heart. These signs move well beyond standard politeness or casual flirtation. They represent a fundamental shift in how he views your place in his world. When a man exhibits these traits consistently, it indicates that he has dropped his emotional armor and is actively weaving you into the fabric of his daily life. Recognizing these silent indicators not only provides profound clarity regarding where you stand, but it also allows you to appreciate the quiet. Steady way a man builds a foundation of trust and devotion before he ever gathers the courage to speak it aloud. Consistent, unprompted eye contact from across the room. When a man is falling for you, his eyes will constantly seek you out, acting as an involuntary magnet. Even in a crowded, noisy room filled with distractions, you will repeatedly catch him looking your way. This isn't a fleeting glance or a casual look. It is a lingering, intense gaze that carries emotional weight. When your eyes meet, he might look away quickly out of sheer nervousness, or he might hold the gaze for a few seconds with a quiet, intense focus. This behavior happens because his subconscious mind prioritizes your presence above everything else in the environment. He is tracking your movements and reactions because you have become the central point of his attention. This silent visual connection establishes a private, unspoken bond between the two of you, long before any formal declaration of feelings is ever made. Subconscious physical mirroring of your posture and actions. Physical mirroring is one of the most reliable, scientifically backed signs of deep psychological and emotional alignment. When a man is falling for you, his body will naturally and automatically mimic your gestures, posture, and pacing. If you lean forward to rest your chin on your hand, you will notice him doing the exact same thing a few moments later. If you take a sip of your drink, he will often follow suit. This involuntary behavior is driven by mirror neurons in the brain, which fire to create a sense of harmony, comfort, and mutual understanding. It is his body's silent way of saying, "I am completely in sync with you." He isn't doing this deliberately to mimic you. Rather, his intense focus on you creates an effortless physical empathy that aligns his body language with yours perfectly, remembering minor, passing details from past conversations. A man who is genuinely falling for you will listen to you with an extraordinary level of cognitive focus weeks after a casual, throwaway conversation. He will surprise you by bringing up a tiny, specific detail you mentioned, such as your favorite childhood candy, a specific fear, or the exact name of your first pet. While others might only remember the broad strokes of your life, he retains the nuances because everything you say holds immense value to him. He isn't just hearing your words, he is actively filing them away in his mind to better understand your personality, preferences, and history. This deep retention shows that he views you as a priority. It proves that he invests serious mental energy into your interactions, using these tiny details to build a meaningful, comprehensive mental map of who you truly are, placing his body instinctively in a protective stance near you. Long before a man openly admits his feelings, his primal, protective instincts will kick in around you. In public spaces, crowded streets, or unfamiliar environments, you will notice him quietly positioning his body between you and potential discomfort or chaos. He might automatically walk on the traffic side of the sidewalk, place a guiding hand near your lower back in a packed crowd, or position himself facing the entrance when you sit together. This behavior is entirely instinctive and deeply rooted in a desire to ensure your safety and comfort. He doesn't make a loud show of it or seek credit for being chivalrous. Instead, it is a smooth, quiet habit. This protective positioning is a clear, physical manifestation of his growing emotional commitment, showing that your well-being has officially become his personal responsibility. Heavy investment in active, focused listening when you speak. When you talk, a man who is falling for you will offer you his absolute, undivided attention. He will put his phone face down, turn his entire body toward you, and block out the surrounding noise completely. He won't interrupt you to redirect the conversation back to himself or offer unsolicited advice. Instead, he asks insightful, open-ended questions that encourage you to share even deeper thoughts. You will notice that he genuinely processes your words, responding with thoughtful nods and sincere verbal validation. This level of active listening is rare and requires significant emotional energy. By giving you this platform, he is showing that your thoughts, opinions, and inner world are genuinely fascinating to him. It is a powerful, quiet sign that he respects your mind and is deeply invested in building an authentic, emotional connection. Subtle, dilated pupils and prolonged gazes during conversations. When a man looks at someone he is deeply falling for, his nervous system triggers an involuntary physiological response. His pupils will visibly dilate, a biological reaction caused by a surge of dopamine and oxytocin when looking at an object of intense desire and affection. Alongside this, you will notice his gaze lingers much longer than standard social interaction requires. He will lock eyes with you during ordinary conversations, holding the connection even during moments of silence. This prolonged gaze is his way of trying to establish a deeper, soul-level connection, effectively filtering out the rest of the world. He isn't just looking at you, he is absorbing your expressions, your facial features, and your emotions. Because he isn't ready to state his feelings out loud, his eyes do the heavy lifting, conveying a profound sense of warmth, intensity, and silent adoration, showing genuine lean-in orientation whenever you open up. Physical proximity and orientation speak volumes about a man's hidden, emotional state. Whenever you begin to share a story, express an opinion, or open up about your day, he will instinctively tilt his upper body toward you. Even in a noisy or distracting environment, he will lean in close, reducing the physical distance between you to ensure he catches every single word and nuance. This forward-leaning posture is an unconscious manifestation of his deep interest and emotional availability. It shows that he is completely engaged and wants to be as close to your world as possible. By angling his shoulders and torso directly toward you, he creates an intimate, private bubble for just the two of you. This quiet physical alignment demonstrates that you have his absolute focus and that your words hold immense weight in his mind, making involuntary, nervous physical adjustments in your presence. When a man is falling for you but holding it in, his internal excitement and emotional intensity often manifest as nervous physical energy. You will notice him making subtle, frequent adjustments to his appearance or surroundings. Whenever you walk into the room or sit next to him, he might smooth down his shirt, fix his hair, adjust his watch, or fidget with his glass. These involuntary actions are driven by a subconscious desire to look his absolute best for you, combined with the natural adrenaline rush that comes from being near someone who deeply stirs his emotions. He may also display slight vulnerability, like a sudden clumsiness or a quick clearing of his throat before he speaks to you. This charming lack of composure is a major indicator that your presence carries immense stakes for him, disrupting his usual calm demeanor, offering silent, low-key acts of service without seeking praise. A man who is quietly falling for you will express his devotion through actions rather than grand, empty declarations. He will constantly look for small, practical ways to make your life easier, smoother, and more comfortable. This could mean showing up with your favorite coffee exactly when you are having a stressful day, clearing the snow off your car windshield, or fixing a minor issue you casually complained about earlier. The defining characteristic of these acts is that he performs them quietly, without any desire for applause, praise, or a favor in return. He doesn't want to make a big show of his helpfulness because his true motivation is simply to care for you and relieve your burdens. These selfless, low-key gestures are a clear sign that he is prioritizing your happiness and comfort in his daily life, showing subtle vulnerability and dropping his usual social guard. Men are traditionally conditioned to keep their guards up and maintain a stoic exterior. But a man who is falling for you will naturally begin to melt around you. You will notice him dropping his usual social armor, sharing personal stories, childhood memories, or future anxieties that he rarely discusses with anyone else. He might admit a mistake he made, confess a specific insecurity, or show a softer, goofier side of his personality that completely contradicts his public persona. This willingness to appear less than perfect in front of you is a massive sign of trust. He feels safe in your presence, and his subconscious is testing the waters of deep emotional intimacy. By allowing you to see his true, unfiltered self, he is quietly signaling that you have reached a place of profound importance in his heart. Frequent, gentle, and seemingly accidental physical contact. When a man is falling for you, his body will naturally seek out excuses to bridge the physical gap between you. You will notice a steady increase in gentle, seemingly accidental touches that feel incredibly natural, yet deliberate. He might brush his shoulder against yours while walking side by side. Let his hand linger for a second too long when passing you an object, or gently touch your elbow to guide you through a crowded room. These touches are safe, non-invasive ways for his subconscious mind to test your boundaries and gauge your comfort level with his physical presence. He isn't being aggressive. Rather, he is craving a physical connection that mirrors the emotional closeness he feels internally. These brief, tender moments of contact create a subtle, magnetic tension, acting as a quiet, physical preview of the deeper affection he is currently hiding, defending or supporting your opinions and integrity in groups. In a group setting, a man's true loyalties quickly become apparent through his conversational support. If you are sharing an idea, telling a joke, or debating a point, he will be the first one to nod in agreement, laugh at your humor, or back up your perspective. If someone interrupts you or dismisses your opinion, he will quietly but firmly step in to redirect the attention back to you, ensuring your voice is heard. This defensive instinct shows that he respects your intellect and values your presence immensely. He acts as your unspoken ally, creating a supportive shield around you in social situations. He doesn't do this to start a conflict with others, but rather because his natural urge to protect and validate you overrides his desire to blend into the background, signaling his deep alignment with you, intentionally carving out time for you. Despite a packed schedule, time is a person's most valuable asset, and how a man allocates it tells you exactly where you rank in his life. If he is falling for you, the excuse of being too busy simply ceases to exist. Even if he is overwhelmed with demanding work projects, family obligations, or personal crises, he will actively find or create windows of time to see you. This might manifest as suggesting a quick 15-minute coffee break near your office, offering to run errands with you, or driving across town just to drop something off and say hello. He makes these adjustments effortlessly, without complaining about his exhaustion or making you feel like a burden by consistently fitting you into his busiest days. He is showing that spending time with you refills his energy rather than draining it, making you an essential priority. Softening his tone and speaking with a distinct, quieter warmth. Pay close attention to the way his voice changes when he shifts his attention from the rest of the world directly to you. When talking to friends or colleagues, he might use a loud, casual, or assertive tone, but the moment he addresses you, his voice will noticeably soften. It drops into a lower, gentler, and more intimate register that is reserved exclusively for your ears. This vocal shift is an involuntary emotional response. His warmth and tenderness are literally leaking into his speech patterns. He speaks more slowly, listens more intently, and uses a cadence that feels comforting and safe. This distinct change in his vocal tone creates a private auditory space between you, signaling that he views you with a unique level of gentleness and respect that no one else receives, keeping objects and mementos associated with your shared memories. A man who is quietly falling for you will begin to treat items connected to you with a sense of sentimental value. If you give him a simple pen, a handwritten note, a movie ticket stub from an outing, or even a specific snack, you will notice that he doesn't throw it away or lose it. Instead, he keeps these ordinary items preserved on his desk, in his car, or in a specific spot at home. To the rest of the world, these objects are completely meaningless, but to him, they serve as tangible anchors to the moments he shared with you. He holds onto them because they allow him to feel close to you even when you are physically apart. This quiet accumulation of mementos is a beautiful, hidden sign that your interactions are leaving a lasting, permanent imprint on his daily life.